because summer, it's mid-May, it's summer. And the reason I know it's summer is if you come up to Canada from mid-May on, everyone's got a smile on their face. I'm not making this up. It's true. We have such a long winter that when the winter breaks, and I mean, April is warmer, but it's very gray. But once you get to May, it's very sunny. There's leaves on the trees. Everything is green, and people are happy. Come to Canada in May, folks. I'm serious. So if you live somewhere and you're like, it's not summer yet, trust me. If it's summer in Canada, it's summer. I have 10 amazing summer fragrances for you guys. And this particular list, it's a little bit different. Fresh fragrances don't do well on me, so I have half of them are fresh. The other half, definitely summer fragrances, but with a little bit of twist. It's a different kind of fresh. It's not necessarily aquatics or citrusy. Anyway, it's summer. Let's get to it. Fragrance number 1, this is Aqua Gio Profumo, and I don't make the rules, but the rule book says every top 10 for summer list has to have Profumo as number 1. So I'm just following order. Why is it number 1? Well, it's pretty simple. Aqua Gio was the number 1 DNA in the world for men. It still is. And this is the strongest and most popular of the Aqua Gios right now. Armani decided that they were going to create a parfum to see if it could take the place. It didn't come close. It dropped the incense note. Now, this is a marine aquatic. So it's got rosemary, sage, and geranium to go along with the C notes, but it has an incense note that makes it just a touch darker, and it makes it a little bit more versatile. So you can wear this in the evening. It's just a little bit of smokiness, so you can wear it in the evening. It'll pass that way. But the main thing here is just the longevity. To get 8 hours, and I get 8 hours, fresh fragrances do not do well on me. It's an actual parfum. I get 8 hours of performance with this. And yeah, this one, you can't beat this. Fragrance number 2, this is Xerjoff's Neo. And this is quite different in terms of scent to Profumo, but in terms of performance, it's right up there. And that's a really hard thing to do because this is bitter citrus. Now, citrus is kind of different depending on the amount of sugar that's in the fruit. So if you have something like orange or pineapple, it'll have a lot of sugar. And then grapefruit, a little bit less. And then you get down to lime, which doesn't have as much sugar as the other two. But what this does is it takes the citrus and it squeezes the sugar out of it with 2 notes. Neroli, which is kind of bitter, and just green notes. So this is more of a green citrus. And that doesn't sound super appealing. But when it comes to warm weather, you want to be as fresh as possible. And anything with sugar in it is not that fresh. And Neo is magical that way. It's really, really hard to get a bitter citrus fragrance to last a long time. And this lasts about 8 hours, on me anyway, similarly to Profumo. Yeah, this is a very, very refreshing fragrance. And yeah, to get 2 8-hour fragrances that are fresh early on, that's why they're 1 and 2. Fragrance number 3, this is Gentleman Only by Givenchy. Now, this line does not get anywhere near the coverage that the regular Gentleman line get. This came out in 2013, and that's when the line started, 2013 to 2016. There were 6 fragrances. Not that popular. And then Gentleman took over and were really, really popular. But this particular one, I traded for it. Now, I traded a fragrance I wasn't wearing, and so I figured, why not? And I checked the rating for this, and it was very, very low. In the car on the way home, and I smell it, I'm like, oh my God, I love it. Now, it is kind of different. It is very fresh, and it'd be great in the summer. That's really what it is. It's a fresh EDT. But the notes are so strange. So there's 4 main notes that do all of the work, and neither of them dominate. You've got mandarin, pink pepper, incense, and vetiver. The combination worked really well for me. I was very surprised at the longevity. You're not going to get a ton of projection, but I get plenty. But it works really well, and yeah, you might want to think about exploring that only line a little bit. At least I'm going to now. But I wouldn't have if it wasn't for the trade. Okay, another fragrance that's a little bit of a twist on summer. This is L'Homme Ultime by Yves Saint Laurent. The Ultime stands for the ultimate ginger fragrance. Now, there's more than just ginger in here, but ginger's a really nice alternative to just your standard boring citrus because it has a fresh component. So there's a lot of ginger in this. And then there's also a powdery rose to complement the ginger. And it has a touch of cardamom. Now, the cardamom I don't pick up a ton, but definitely the powdery rose and the ginger combine really well. And what this is a summer wedding scent. Like iris, which is powdery and a little bit sophisticated, rose can be the same way. This one is hard to find. It's been discontinued. Performance, though, is very, very good. I get 6 or 7 hours, and this is a fairly fresh fragrance again. So anything that's fresh and performs on me, I'll take it. Fragrance number 5, this is Rochas Lum. And the House of Rochas, I got to admit, it's like the scents. I have 3 of their fragrances, all the scents I love. They have varying degrees of performance. This one is somewhere in the middle. So I get 4, maybe 4.5 hours with this. This is a citrus aromatic, mostly citrus. There's some pineapple off the top. There is some tonka in this, so there's a sweet citrus component. But the aromatic notes, juniper, geranium, and basil, really give it an herbal feel. So it's got a little bit of sweetness. It's got a lot of citrus, and then it's got a lot of aromatic notes. As I said, performance between 4 and 5 hours. Fragrance number 6, this is CK All. Unfortunately for me, I discovered this in early December of this year. And this is one of the fragrances where I just made an impulse buy. I didn't expect to like this at all. I don't like CK1 much at all. But what this is quite different because it's a white floral citrus fragrance. So that's, the bottle is a dead giveaway. There are 4 white floral notes in this and a lot of citrus. And what I like about this is it has a creamy feel. Sometimes white citrus can come off that way, a sense of creamy. Now, it might sound a little feminine. It's not. This one is like right down the middle in terms of unisex, but it is very refreshing because fundamentally it is a citrus fragrance. I don't know. I didn't expect creaminess from such an inexpensive fragrance. And so again, on the way home, sprayed it on. I'm sniffing my hand. Whenever I do that, that's always a good sign. Yeah, think about this one for the summer. Next up, we have Prada Luna Rossa Carbon, and this is the best version of the Sauvage DNA, which is ambroxan and black pepper. What this is, though, is a Prada version. There's a lot of lavender, and it's a smooth lavender, and there are metallic notes, and it still has really good performance. This is, to me, the single first fragrance that I would wear in any kind of warm weather on a date, because the Sauvage DNA has always worked really well for me. And this is easily the best version of it. And yeah, really nice Prada. Next up, we have Louis Vuitton's Cactus Garden. This is my favorite warm weather fragrance of all time by a long shot. I mean, I don't really talk about it much because I only have 2 milliliters and it's not a popular fragrance. But this one is an experience because it really does smell. I don't know. I've never been to a cactus garden, but it smells exactly like what I would expect one to smell like. And it's very, very soothing and very grounding. This is part of the Les Cologne line that also has Afternoon Swim, which is far more popular than this. But I prefer this way more. And actually, I really like everything by Louis Vuitton. So it's got a strange note breakdown, lemongrass, mate tea, and bergamot. And I don't know whether it's the lemongrass, the mate, but there's something about it that just smells soothing and it's very, very relaxing. There's a fair bit of citrus in it too, but it's just so different. It's so different. And yeah, like to me, this is true masterpiece. Next up, we have Hugo Reversed. Now, this is much cheaper than the Louis Vuitton Cactus Garden. And the reason that I don't have Cactus Garden is because of the price. Now, this, on the other hand, really nice citrus fragrance with rosemary and a smooth vetiver base. It's actually really well constructed. The fragrance that people compare this the most to is Roja Parfum's Elysium. I had a sample of Elysium. I think that's unfair to Elysium, and it's unfair to this, because this smells really nice, but it's not Elysium. But yeah, this one is perfectly acceptable. I highly recommend it. And actually, the fragrances from Hugo Boss that have this canteen cap tend to be less expensive. But yeah, I get decent performance with this one, and then the scent is very nice despite the price. Finally, we have Goldfield Banks Pacific Rock Moss, and this smells like an Australian beach. They have a lot of moss and greenery near the beaches in Australia. And so, yeah, this has lemon, and it has a really, really nice geranium note that is fresh and green. And oddly enough, the whole feel of the fragrance, I don't know where the sweetness comes, but there's just this tiny touch of sweetness that I really like. This is a super original, very different, very creative blue fragrance, gorgeous presentation. And I don't know too many houses from Australia, but yeah, this one will rock your world. Anyway, thank God it's summer. Thank God. 5 months of hell. And now we got the good stuff. Take care, guys.